Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to begin our social studies class with chapter number 6, Architectural Development in the Medieval Period. Dear students, it is the chapter of history. Already we finished 5 chapter of history and now we will begin chapter number 6, Architectural Development about the medieval period. Dear students, if we will talk about architectural development, then at first I want to told you what is the meaning of architectural. Architectural means many types of monuments like forts, palaces, stairwells, and many types of the temples, mosques, and other things also made by kings and emperors. That type of monuments is known as architectural monuments. And how that type of architectural monuments are developed in the time of medieval period, that type of thing we will discuss in this chapter. What's about architecture, whichever type of architecture in different parts of the India, like North India, South India, all that thing we will cover in this chapter. At first we will talk about architectural style, which type of architectural style is taken by that type of emperors. Dear students, let's begin this chapter, chapter number 6, page number 42. India achieved a tremendous success in the field of architecture during the medieval period. If we talk about the medieval period, then we can see that on the medieval period, architectural style is going to be developed. Many much more type of things are included in that type of development. So we can say that on that time, many type of kings, many type of emperors are also included for developing that type of architecture. We can group this period of architecture into 3 distinct phases. It's already divided into 3 distinct phases. The first one comprises the architectural style of native kings. The second is related to the architectural development in the Sultanate period. And the third one draws focus on the Mughal architecture. Which type of 3 type of places are focused on that time? We can say that the first one is about the style of the native kings, second one is about the architectural development of the Sultanate, and third one is about Mughal only. So we can say that it's divided into 3 parts, and however many monuments were also built with the combination of these 2 or 3 styles. A large number of monuments were built during the medieval period. King built both religious and architecture, also like secular structure also made by them. Religious structure included temples, mosques, while secular structure included forts, palaces, tombs, towns, walls, and many another type of things are also made by them. Let's study about the architectural development during the medieval period. First point is here, architectural style. We can say that India's temple architecture is dominated broadly by 2 architectural styles. If we talk about Indian's temple, then we can say that it's dominated by 2 styles only. First one is about Nagara style and second one is about Dravidian style. The Nagara style of temple architecture was dominant in the North India. If you want to watch Nagara style, then you can watch that type of thing in the North India only. If you visit North India, then you can find that type of Nagara style of temples. This style is marked by curvilinear temple tower, which ends at almost on a point like Kandriya Mahadev temple shown in figure. Figure is also given here. Like that type of temples are found in the North India, and that is the architecture of the Nagara style only. So we can say that it is a beautiful example, Kandriya Mahadev temple. The Dravidian style of temple architecture is dominant in South India. If you want to watch South Indian architecture, then you can watch in the like Dravidian style of temples. This style is marked by pyramidal temple tower, look like the sun temple, whichever described on the page number 43. You can watch here that type of things like pyramids. That type of style is known as the Dravidian style, and that type of known as the Nagara style. So we can say that the Nagara style of the architecture is also here. And the Dilwara at Mount Abu, nearby you only in Sino district, Mount Abu, that's the temple is Dilwara. It's about made by Solanki rulers, and it is also beautiful example of we can say that Dravidian style. And we can say that these temples are of white marble and they are decorated with beautifully carved sculptures to have designs such as the flowers and plants. Beautifully carved with the sculptures. Sculptures means many type of sculptures are also given on the tombs and many types of pillars. South India. Now at first we will discuss about the many much of things, how that type of thing is going to be started in the medieval period in North India. In North India, we already know that the Nagara style of the temple architecture was popular on that time. The Chandelas built many temples at Khajuraho, and in all there are 85 temples in the Khajuraho complex. Most of them, such as Parasnath temple, the Vishwanath temple, and the Kandriya Mahadev temple, which were discussed by already us in architectural style. And there were constructed in the Nagara style in the temple of Odisha, like Mukteswara temple and Lingaraja temple at Bhubaneswar, the Sun temple at Konark, and the Jagannath temple at Puri are some of the best specimens of the Nagara style. Means if you want to visit Nagara style temple, then you can surely visit early medieval periods North India, which are many temples are made here, like Pasna temple, Vishwanath temple, Kandriya Mahadev temple, and Mukteswara temple, Lingaraja temple, Sun temple, Jagannath temple. Many temples are there in North India. If you are visiting that type of place, then you can find that which type of temple architecture style. It is Nagara style only. And if you want to visit nearby you only, then I already told you, you have to visit Mount Abu at Dilwara. Many type of sculpture and many type of white marbles, arts also used there. They are decorated with beautiful sculptures and many type of designs also carved on it. Now it's all about North India. Now we'll discuss about South India. Temple architecture flourished the leaps and bounds in the South India. The Pallavas, Pandyas, and the Cholas were great temple builders. The Pallava king built the Ratha temple and Sol temple at Mahabalipuram and the Kailasnath temple at Kanchi. The Pandyas constructed numerous temples in Madurai. If we talk about Pandyas, then Pandya also made many type of temples in Madurai. The Chola kings also built a large number of temples, like the Bridesar temple, also called the Raja Rajeshwara temple. At Tanjore is very well known Raja Raja Chola dedicated to Lord Shiva. Chola temples were built in Dravidian style. If we talk about Chola temple, then we can say that it's made in Dravidian style only. Early temples were simple structures. Later, they become bigger and grander. The gateway of the temple was called Gopuram. Means the entrance of the temple is known as the Gopuram. The main shrine where images of gods and goddesses were kept is known as Garbhagriha. Means where the sculpture is be placed. That type of place is known as Garbhagriha. The mandapa was generally situated in front of the main shrine. In front of main shrine, you can watch that wherever you are sitting in the temples, that type of place is known as the shrine only. It was audience hall where people gathered for prayers. Mandapa, that type of place is used for the people gathering whenever any type of occasion or any type of incidences about the gods is have. On top of the main shrine was a tall structure of tower called Sikhar. Means that type of thing. This is known as the Sikhar. Temples had become a very important place in Chola period. Temples were not only places of worship but much more. Settlements often grew around temples. Many temples were centers of the craft production as well. Large temples owned a lot of land gifted to them by the kings and rich landowners. And land given to a temple was called Devdana. Means if any type of land is given to temple, then it may be property of temple only, and that type of property is known as Devdana. The tax collected from this land was used for the upkeep of the temple and to maintain the people who work there. Means whoever working in the temple, that are the benefited from that type of money, like priest, dancer, musicians, garland maker, idol maker, cooks, and many others. Whoever live in the temple, who are dependent on the temple, they will be benefited by that type of money. Temples also participated in inland or overseas trade. The priests taught children in temple courtyards. Thus, temples during the Chola period were the hub of social, economic, and cultural life. We can say that on that time, on the Chola period, temples grew very fastly, and that type of development also seen by us on that time. The Sultanate period. The establishment of Delhi Sultanate in the 13th century marked a new phase in architecture of India. The Turks brought Arab and Persian culture with them, with intermingled with the local Indian style of architecture. Means on that time, local Indian architecture is going to be used for making temples, and this gave birth to Indo-Islamic style of architecture. When Turks came to India, then both architecture is going to mix like Indian and Turk. and we can say that it's converted into Indo-Islamic architecture. Palaces, mosques, forts, and towers were constructed in this new style. Indo-Islamic style is being going to generate on that time. Features of Indo-Islamic structure. Which type of features are there? Indo-Islamic structure. We can say that the two main features used in the buildings of this period were arch, is later defined called the true arch, and the dome. There was no longer the need of construct pillars to support the roof, starting with half domes where there was a shift towards full domes, and some buildings also had minarets. Means on that time they did not need any type of making pillar or something like that. They directly create that type of structure on the domes only. Most early structures were built of red sandstones on that time. Mostly that type of structure is made by the red sandstone only. Later monuments began to be made of stone covered with plaster. They were decorated with floral and geometric design. Many type of designs are also going to be placed on that type of pillars or motifs. So we can say that in many structures like motifs and such as swastika, lotus and bell were used. The slave and Khalsi sultans had more money to spend on architecture, therefore their buildings have more decorative carvings on them than those of Tughlaq, Sayyadis and Ludis used for that thing. Many famous monuments were built during the Sultanate period. Qutbuddin Aibak built in the Sultanate period. Main monument is made by the Qutbuddin Aibak, that is known as the Quwwatul Islam Mosque in Delhi, which is situated in Delhi only. The Adai Din Ka Jhopra in we can say that Ajmer, that is the nearby mosque only. Khwaja Moinuddin Chisti's mosque is nearby the Adai Din Jhopra, and the Quwwatul Islam Mosque built in 1193 was the first mosque of the raised in India by the ruling dynasty. That was the first mosque which were made by Alauddin Khilji and the Quwwat ul Islam, that type of thing, and raised in India by the ruling dynasty. It was the just a symbol of the might of Islam, but also the might of new political authority. Adai Din Ka Jhopra is said to be have been built in 2.5 days. Adai Din Ka Jhopra made in only 2.5 days, so it is known as Adai Din Ka Jhopra. He also started the construction of the Qutub Minar and built the first story. Iltutmish added the three more stories to it. Qutub Minar started made by the Qutbuddin Aibak only, and he made first story only, and after Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish added 2 or 3 stories. And as far as the famous architectural enterprises, we can say that Sultanate period were concerns like Qutub Minar is one of them. If we talk about Sultanate period, then Qutub Minar is the most and important architecture monument of on that time. And second one is about the Quwwatul Islam Mosque. And third one is about Adai Din Ka Jhopra. It is 72.5 meter high and has 378 stairs. This one is the structure of the Qutub Minar. Its height is about 72.5 meter and 378 stairs are there. Largely built of red sandstone, completely made by red sandstone. It also had white marble also in the center one part. Calligraphic inscriptions and decorative carvings are used to decorate the structure. It was named after the famous Chishti Saint Sheikh Qutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Qutub Minar is the now known as the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Alauddin Khilji built the Alai Darwaza. Next to the Qutub Minar, it is made up of the red sandstone, and the Alai Darwaza is also said to have been built by Alauddin. After that, the monuments of the Tughlaq, Sayyid, Lodi period include to the Tughlaqabad Fort, Firozshah Kotla, Bara Gumbad, Sis Gumbad, and the tombs of the Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq and Firozshah Tughlaq and Muhammad Shah Sayyid and Sikandar Lodi and Khirki Begumpuri, Jamali Kamali, Maut Ki Masjid, numerous Baolis and many more structures in around Delhi which were made by them. That thing is discussed in this chapter. After that, in next class we will discuss about the regional kingdoms, how regional kingdoms like Rajput kingdoms, Vijayanagar, Bahamni, Sahis, and the Mughal period like features Babur, Humayun, the Surs, Akbar, Jahangir, Aurangzeb, and the 18th century about that thing. Dear students, once again I am going to revise about that thing. Already we discussed about the architectural development in the medieval period, how the medieval period, how the architectural development is being placed in medieval period. If we talk about that type of thing, then we can say that at first we will talk about architectural style. What is the architectural style? So we can say that if any king or any emperor made on that time any type of monument like mosque, temple, palace, step wells, then that type of thing is known as architectural monument. And many styles are using on that time. Mostly two styles are using. like the Nagara style and Dravid style. One is the first one is the using in the South India only, and second one is about the North India. So we can say that in North India that's about the Nagara style, and South India is about the Dravidian style. Many type of temples are also made by them on that time. Sultanate period, many type of like Qutub Minar, and second one is Radinga Chopra and Quwwatul Islam. That type of monuments also made by them. And whenever Turks came to India, then Indian and Islamic that type of architecture mix. Because of that, whenever we watch that type of monuments, then we will find a mixture of the architecture of Indian and Islamic. Dear friends, it's all about the chapter number 6, architectural development in the medieval period. I hope you understand this chapter, and next part we will discuss in our next class. Thank you so much.